purpose of this during this pandemic situation, few states have imposed lockdown, few states are imposed some restrictions. So I think many participants are attending this training from their organization. Hope all are safe and you are maintaining the protocols like social distancing. If you are attending along with your colleagues, please wear mask and maintain the social distancing. So with this note, we will start this session now. So I'll start with some introduction about my organization. We are from Nucleus Consultant. We are into consulting, training, and auditing services. We are more into sector-specific standards. There are multiple sector-specific standards are there. These are some of our portfolio for aviation, space, and defense industry. The quality management system standard for 9100, 9110, 9120, and aero engine manufacturers, now they come up with their own version, AS 13000 series. And we do NatCap consulting services too on multiple commodities. So this is our portfolio for aviation, space, and defense industry. Similar way, we have a portfolio for our automotive industries where we do IATF 16949 and core tools training and CQI trainings we do. And for railway industry, again, IRIS certification. Similar way, medical device industry, they do have their own QMS, ISO 13485. And other sector like telecommunication, oil gas industries, high security printing industries, and general standards we all much aware about QMS. Then EMS, OHSMS. So these are the different standard what we do. My voice is clear to you all. Am I audible? Can anyone please confirm? I could see some comments saying that it's not audible. My voice is audible. I think few people said sound is not coming. You would have checked your audio. You can say connect via devices. If you look at your Zoom screen, in the left bottom corner, there is one icon. You have to click that and say connect via audio. Through that, you can able to listen my voice. Thank you. Still, you have difficulties. You can contact your system admin, or you better contact the next generation. They will well aware about how to handle Zooms because they are attending a lot of online classes nowadays, right? Thank you. So about myself, I am Karthi Tyagarajan. I am practicing this management system for past 15 years. I'm more into sector-specific standard. I'm also IAQG trained auditor for 9100, but I don't do audits. I do only consulting and training. Around more than 50 organizations I have implemented this 9100, which includes some of the public sector, Ministry of Defense Industries, and different private organizations, small, medium enterprises. So this is what all about my profile. So today's training, what we are going to address, or what we are going to see is about product safety. Now the time is, we have started just 5 minutes, and I could see around 67 participants are there. There are around 150 registrations related to aerospace training. I could see around 50% participants are joining. Let's see how it goes. So today, agenda, mainly we are just discuss about what is the purpose of this training, and what is this product safety? What the requirement product safety in a management system, how to interpret the term product safety, and what is the requirement in 9100 revision D, how to implement, how to interpret, how to train our team with respect to product safety, or how to audit the requirement of product safety. That's what we are going to discuss. And of course, end of this session, I have Q&A. In between, there is no restriction. You can always ask your questions through chat box. Instead of raising hand, if you better type your comments in chat box, I can listen and respond to your queries. And many people have some question in their mind, whether can I get certificate for this training? The answer is yes, but subject to, there will be some course evaluation. There are two types of evaluation will happen in this training. not only in this training, throughout this June month industry-specific training, the evaluation process goes like this. When we start the training, there will be an initial evaluation, and end of the training, a post-training evaluation, and of course feedback. Any participant has to complete all these three assessments. One is feedback and initial assessment and post-assessment. People who are all attending all these three, they can able to receive a certificate, because some people are joining in between the training, some people may left before the training, right? So those people are, we cannot able to issue certificate for those people. So whoever joining now and stay throughout this training and respond to the queries and exercises, because we do some little bit of online exercises. We'll be sharing some of the Google form via chat box. So that's how the reskill, right? Because the whole theme for this training, what we are considering is upskill, reskill, or unlearn, relearn, right? That is what. So we will try to address that through this evaluation form. So this is what I would like to address before entering into this session. So of course, yes, we have reached almost 50% of attendance. Good. Okay. First of all, why this training? Why you are all attending this training? That too in Saturday morning session, 10:30. It's a different timing, right? People usually have this type of online seminar or webinar at evening time. But this is, because I try to cover multiple topics. Initially, we conducted a survey in LinkedIn. We have posted multiple topics, which topic you want to choose. I think most of the people have voted for the topics what you have seen in your schedule. So that's what we have come up with this. And what we are going to see today already, the agenda I have just discussed, but look at this, the end of this training, I promise you, you can able to understand what is this product safety. When you want to implement this product safety in your organization, where this product safety requirements applicable, who is responsible for this product safety in your organization, how you are going to implement this product safety requirement in your organization. This is what you are going to get end of this training. So that is the objective related to AS 9100. What is this word product safety? So that's what we are trying to achieve through this training session. So the objective is to create awareness across the aviation, space and defense industry to promote the culture of product safety. When I say aviation industry, aerospace industry, it always consists of these three sectors: aviation, space and defense. We call it as ASD industries. Every manufacturer or even designer or service provider, whoever involving in aviation, space and defense business, they have to flow down the product safety requirement. Why? Because they receive product safety requirement from their customers. Aircraft manufacturer, they do have their own regulatory requirements with respect to product safety, and they have to flow down this to their tier 1 supplier, and tier 1 supplier needs to flow down to tier 2. So that's how the entire supply chain need to practice this product safety. As an organization, you need to understand what would be the potential safety impact of the error what you are committing during your manufacturing process, how it is going to affect the end product, how it is going to impact the aircraft or the spacecraft or the defense product. So that is what the standard AS 9100 is more focusing. Okay, let's try to hear from the participant. I'm going to show this one. You need to tell me. I'm not sure every participant aware about all the standard, but whatever you are comfortable, whatever you are aware about, try to please respond this. In ISO 9001, do we have a requirement? When I say requirement, it should be written in the standard. Do you think in ISO 9001, the basic quality management system standard, the requirement for product safety is included? Can you please tell? Just say yes or no. You can use your chat box. the way I will keep engage my participant. You have to reach your chat box and type yes or no. That's it. If anybody having difficulty how to access chat box, better talk to your brother or children or neighbors. They will better educate. You know, people are well aware about Zoom tool. So there is no separate training needed how to access chat box in a Zoom tool. Very good. Many have agreed. There is no written required. Perfect. Now coming to, there is one more standard, ISO TS 22163. I'm not sure how many of you are aware about this. This is Railway Industry Quality Management System standard. Now tell me, in railway industry standard, railway quality management standard, do you think the word requirement of product safety is addressed? Very good. So I have a very mature participant. They said yes. Perfect. Okay, if yes, then tell me who's supposed to do, who is responsible for this product safety in an organization. A company is practicing railway quality management system. There is a requirement called as product safety. Tell me who is going to do this? Who is going to implement this? Which department do you think? I get the term engineering, somebody say CFT, cross-functional team. MR, interesting answer. Every individual. Product safety, every individual. Okay. So I get mixed responses. QMS. Okay. Functional safety, that is very precise requirement. Designers. Okay. So let's keep this question open. And when you want to initiate this product safety, when there are multiple phases, right? There is a multiple stages, I could say, a life cycle of your product. Now tell me, which stage do you think the product safety process needs to be initiated? Which stage? Stage I'm talking about. When? During design and development stage. Very good. FME, okay. From raw material to the finished stage, okay. Design, APQP, very good. Perfect. During design and development. Okay, I'll keep this thing open. Maybe end of this training, we will discuss this further. Now we are clear. That is why this training is being organized in 9100 also. It is a requirement. Product safety is a requirement. I will keep this thing open. Maybe end of this training, you need to answer yourself. That is the whole purpose of this training. IATF 16949, Automotive Industry Quality Management System standard. Do you think the product safety is a requirement in this standard? Yeah, thank you. Yes, it's very clear. People who are exposed to the standard, they will well aware about this. 13485, Medical Devices Quality Management System. There is another QMS for medical. These are the industry specific standard. Now tell me, in medical device management system, QMS, do you think there is a requirement for product safety? People, if you are exposed to that, you can say, otherwise you need not to worry about it. In medical device, what do you think? Medical device. Technically, if you walk through ISO 13485, there is no precise requirement called as product safety, but wherever you go, they talks about safety of the device, nothing but product safety. So I could say it is yes. Indirectly, it is addressed. There are various requirements. If you just control F and search in the standard, you can simply find it out. So why I am putting this particular slide in this training is you try to understand a generic management system standard doesn't address or doesn't explicitly address the requirement for product safety, whereas sector specific standard, because the sector specific standards are made by the industry for the industry. So the industry recognizes, acknowledges, and they know the importance of the requirement of product safety. That is why every sector specific standard, you could see the requirement for a product safety. Okay, so let's discuss about product safety. So before moving further, we are talking about product safety related to aviation, space, and defense industry, right? So now I am going to send you a initial evaluation link. You need to check your chat box. Just click the link and try to answer this question. This is a very simple question. You need not to worry about the complexity here. I have shared a link. Just click that. Can anyone confirm the link is working? Yes. So please do attempt this particular exercise. Now the time is 10:48. I will give you 5 minutes. You have to finish this within 5 minutes. So we have crossed 50% of attendance because the registered participant for aerospace industry is around 150. Each sector, there are multiple participants. You may, because the same meeting link will work for all topics. If you are interested, you are free to join any other topic. There is no restriction. You can invite your friends, colleagues, if you want to share knowledge. Yeah, please do attempt this link. There is a link I have shared in the chat box. So I have already received 8 responses. When you practice an aerospace management system, you should understand the context of the industry. That's very critical. I could see many organizations who are practicing AS9100. You may be a simple machine component manufacturer, or you may do a subsystem assembly, or you do a system assembly, or you do a product, airworthy product, which is a flying part. Irrespective of your role in the supply chain, you need to understand the context, what this industry is. I think this initial quiz will tell us what we understood this industry. I don't want to declare the results because you get some answers in front of your screen. So I could see there are 91 participants. Once I received 50% of response, then I'll continue. So far, I have received 40 people have responded. Thank you. So without understanding the context, if you approach a management system or if you do business with that industry, so think of the risk where we are entering. So it's very critical to understand the context. You may not be an aeronautical engineer or you may not be a subject matter expert, but when you practice a management system, when you produce a product which is being used in an aerospace industry, you should understand the big picture, right? That's very critical. That's the whole purpose of this exercise. To approach product safety, this understanding is very important. Without understanding this, if you straight away read the standard, what is written in product safety, it's only 2 lines in the standard and 4 bulletin points. It's in simple English. Everyone can read and understand. Why to spend 2 hours on this topic? There is a reason behind it. Got it. I have received 53 response. Then I'll move further. More than 50% have responded. Thank you whoever responded on time. But nothing wrong if you have delayed or you have some network issues. I understand your situation. Since it's online training, we need to accept that thing. So this is what typically now you have responded. So how many parts goes into an aircraft? And many people, I could say, some people have said between 5,000 to 10,000. This is not exact figure technically. It can vary model. It depends on the size of that aircraft, right? It's a jumbo or commercial or cargo or fighter jet. Depends on that. The part number can be vary. But I'll give you some figures here. 747-400 has 6 million parts. This is some of the facts we need to understand. So aircraft has a minimum 50,000 plus parts. A small aircraft, you could say. So many components goes into an aircraft. So look at the volume. I am making a small machined component. How this is going to affect the aircraft product safety? Do you think is there any connection between the small component what you are producing in your company, in your shop floor by operator ABC? If that operator made a small mistake in the product, dimension wise the product is perfect. It is meeting the entire requirement of the drawing. What's wrong in that? If I meet that drawing requirement, do you think that is what the product safety? If a product is manufactured as per drawing, all the dimensional requirements are matching, do you think the product is safe now? Tell me, what do you think? If the product is fulfilling all the requirements, all the dimensional requirement, whatever the drawing customer shared with you, whatever the control plan you made out of the drawing, that is 100% fulfilled. Now, do you tell me whether the product is safe? Keep this question in mind. Look at this picture. How many parts you are seeing in this one picture? Plenty, right? An engine alone, aircraft engine alone, thousands of components. So try to understand the complexity of an aircraft. Plenty of components goes everywhere. Lifetime, again, this is quite interesting fact. Many people believe in, out of this survey, around 65 people have now responded. 20% believes the lifetime is 15 years. It is not. It goes beyond that. You can consider 25 to 27 years. It's approximated. Typically, it depends on the flying hours. This is quite interesting question. Whenever I took any aerospace industry specific training, I'll always ask this question. Which one is the critical item in aircraft? Most of the answer is always all. All are critical. That's very convenient answer, right? All are critical. What do you mean by all are critical? All are critical means I will ask precise question. The component, the product, what you are dealing in your organization, do you think these parts are critical? Even MRO parts also manufactured by someone, right? Someone asked the question, how about MRO parts? MRO parts also manufactured by some organization, either tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Either you are delivering your product to aircraft industry for assembly integration, or you are delivering it to MRO industry. Doesn't matter, you are a manufacturer. Clear? How do you say, who decides whether it's a critical item or not? You are saying, yes, I am handling critical item. Very good. But who decides it? Who has authority to say, no, this item is critical? Who said that this is critical? You have decided on your own, or your customer have mentioned it, or your customer have specified in the drawing. There is one word we use in the ASD industry, engineering authority, EA. Who is the engineering authority? Engineering authority is responsible for airworthiness. They have to decide, they have to declare, they have to dictate. Not your organization, design team or engineering team. It should come from where? Engineering authority. Okay, let's assume your customer also said it is a critical item in the drawing or somewhere they have mentioned critical item. Now tell me what you will do if it is a critical item. What you will do? You are handling a critical item. Very good. What type of different treatment you do on this critical item? There are multiple items you are handling in your company. Few items are critical, few items are non-critical. You are classifying. Now, what is the different type of treatment you are applying there? Care means what? What type of care you are giving? What is that meaning of care? You will do SPC. Okay. You may have some key characteristics in the critical item. Okay. 100% check. Of course, every product you do 100% check. Nah? What is the difference? So these are the question you need to ask. Strengthening the FMEA is not the care. Nah? Strengthening FMEA, you have to do it at any point of time. Either critical, non-critical, you have to strengthen your FMEA. What type of different treatment you are applying on a critical item? That's a very precise question you need to ask yourself. When you are dealing a critical item, customer simply said in the drawing critical item, it is your responsibility to ask your customer, okay, what I need to do with this critical item? My existing routine process is fit for this, or do I need to have any special? Someone said care. What is that care? Is it critical care or intensive care or carefree? You have to precisely address. And this, everyone very clear about this. Who is responsible for aircraft quality? You cannot pinpoint one individual here, right? Everyone who were touching, who were handling the product information. And this is the initial slide I have asked this question. When it's come to product safety, aircraft safety, who is responsible? That you need to say. In your organization, who is responsible? You have to have a process. You have to assign roles and responsibilities. Someone have written to CFT. How many of the people in CFT are aware about that they are responsible for product safety? Someone said top management. Top management is accountable, but who is responsible? Every individual means whether stores person aware about they are responsible for product safety. Whether operator aware about what is the role in the product safety. Supply chain management aware about this. It's not just awareness. They should understand what it is. Now tell me how many of supply chain people attending this training? Anyone from supply chain attending this training? Let's check. Let's do a fact check now. Just reply. If you are from supply chain, I'll be very happy. Anyone from supply chain industry? Purchasing? Anyone? Very good. I got one person. DM. No. If you are a supply chain, please respond. I'm sure, because many company they thought the AS 9100 means quality only will do. right? That is the very bad. That is the way how we approach QMS is not that one, right? Just because it is QMS, it is not quality role. Okay, so you need to ask all these questions. So typically, product safety is applicable to all companies, irrespective of your role, what you do. Even either you produce raw material, you produce component, subsystem, build to print, or OEM, whoever, what, irrespective of your role, you are responsible for product safety. AS 9100 made that very clear. So I could see there are 93 participants, but I have received only 67 responses. Maybe either you have joined lately or you may have some difficulties to access this link. I don't know what is the reason. Anyway, we'll move further on this part. Maybe you can also plan yourself accordingly. Half an hour, the training maybe get extended. If you are comfortable with that, you can continue, no issues. Because this topic is a bit serious one. So I may extend the 10 or 15 minutes, even 12:45 up to, but before 1 o'clock it will be dead. So you can suit yourself accordingly. Is that okay for you? Thank you. So on AST hardware, if you take a system, engine system, any system in an aircraft, it has multiple parts goes into it. A few parts are complex, parts are simple in nature. If you are a supplier, if you produce any one of this part, you have a critical role to play here. An operator at shop floor, he may do a small mistake, a negligible thing that may directly connected with the aircraft safety. That awareness we should have, we should impart within our organization. That is what the standard expectation. So let's check some fact. Mainly manufacturing industry, assembly industry, designers, of course, MROs, everyone may impact the aircraft safety. It is impacted by either man, material, method, measurement, material, or mother nature. You can keep on adding which factors may affect product safety. In every industry, always the challenge is getting operator attention on this, because they are only finally touching the product. See, tell me who is spending more time, more hours with the product, physical product in any company. Who is spending more time with the product? Tell me. Operator, right? Operator, inspector. They touch the product, they feel the product, they live with the product. How many of them are aware about this? How you are getting attention? How they will know what is the lifetime of the aircraft? Whether they will know about critical part or non-critical part. I'm an operator, I'm getting a drawing, I'm getting a material, I'm feeding the program, I'm machining the part. That's my role. I'm a welder. I got the electrode, I got the welding machine, I got the setting, I got WPS, I will apply and weld it. That's my role. But how you get attention of the operator? They have to understand their activity may have potential safety impact of the final aircraft. So that you have to flow down. Right? So there are multiple components goes into an aircraft. So I need not to re-emphasize the basics about IAQG, who are all member in IAQG, who developed the standard. AS 9100 standard is developed by the industry for the industry. And there are a lot of regulatory requirements are there, military specs are there related to product safety. And regulators have airworthiness standards to assure product safety. So everywhere the product safety plays a vital role. And we have an organization, International Aerospace Quality Group. This consists of people from various sectors, American Aerospace Quality Group, Europe Aerospace Quality Group, Asia Pacific Aerospace Quality Group. You can name any aerospace company, they are member here. Maybe your customer, your potential customer, or you may working in this company. So you can see some of the Indian companies here: Boeing, Airbus, Bombardier, Embraer, GE, Dassault. You can name anyone, HAL, our Indian organization, Megit, MBDA, IAI. So you can name any aircraft defense manufacturer, space manufacturer. They are part of IAQG. They prepared the standard. The IAQG standard, AS 9100 standard, is not prepared by someone. It is prepared by the industry for the industry. When they included the AS 9100, product safety means it has its own impact. So look at the definition. So what is the definition given in AS 9100? What is product safety? It's a simple two-line definition. It is state of the product. What is the state of the product? Which condition the product is being used? When your finished product is going to usage? During operation of aircraft, right? Operation includes MRO activities. At any state, every product has its intended purpose, designed purpose. So your product must able to perform the intended purpose without creating any harm, without creating any unacceptable risk. I'll give you a simple example. I'll draw a picture. You need to tell me what it is. Can anyone tell me what it is? Can you recognize this picture? What it is? Very good. It is a missile. Now, can you apply this definition, missile? What is the purpose of this missile? What is the purpose? You try to interpret this definition with this product. What it definition says? The product without causing unacceptable risk of harm to the person or damage to the property. What is the purpose of a missile? Whether it is going to harm the person or damage the property, correct? But how do you interpret the terminology here? You have to correctly interpret. The standard made it very clear. What is the designed intended purpose of the missile? It has to reach a particular range. It has to attack the specific target. That is the designed purpose, right? That needs to be achieved. So the key word in the entire product safety is your product must perform the intended designed purpose without creating any unacceptable risk. Risk may be there, but some risk may be acceptable risk, but it should be it does not create any unacceptable risk that is going to harm either person or damage to the property. This is a simple definition. And if you look at walk through AS 9100 standard, if you are familiar with the standard, various places you could see the word product safety. In 8.1a, when you determine the requirement for product, you should consider product safety, which means when you are getting a new inquiry RFQ from a customer, you have to ask your customer, is there any product safety requirement I need to follow? How many of you are asking this? Your contract review team, program management team, sales team, marketing team, business development team, whether they are reviewing this. Is there any product safety requirement for this part number? Tell me how many of you are asking this. Do you have a process for this? In your feasibility review, contract review, is there any product safety requirement specified by your customer? You have to determine the requirement. Even before, even inquiry stage, you need to ask at preliminary level, right? Design level, of course, you have to explore. But even initial stage, because that's what standard expects from you. 8.1a itself. Determine the requirement for product. This is further extended to 8.2.2. Correct? Then in one more place, in 8.1 itself, it says, when you establish criteria for statistical techniques, you can use statistical technique to support your design verification process. So how you will prove product is safe? You need to verify, right? Before the design is being transferred to manufacturing activity, you need to verify whether the product is safe. Your design needs to be verified. There you can use some statistical techniques, simulations, some risk analysis. That is what it is. So these two are all indirect requirements. It's not a direct requirement for product safety. These are all given in note. Technically speaking, notes are guides, right? Now, this is what the exact core process. You should have a product safety process, 813. And it is further connected with the 7.3. Everyone in the company should be aware about the product safety. When you do outsourcing activity, when you do procure any material from your supplier, again, you have to flow down this requirement of product safety to your supplier. That is what 843. When you handle, store, preserve, pack your product, that time also you have to consider product safety. So this is spread across the standard. So these are the various places you could see the word product safety. Now tell me, who is responsible for all this activity? Is it only quality team? Is it only design team? Now tell me, who is going to, because this is spread across various places. Here you could see awareness. So when a person is inducted, during induction training, do you want to consider product safety? Tell me, as part of induction training, as part of awareness training, do you think product safety training should be imparted? What do you think? Is it required? Supply chain, that's what I asked the question. I could see only one person, someone named DM. He is only from supply chain. I'm not accusing. I'm just telling the fact. Look at some random, it's even online training. How many of you have communicated about this training program to your purchase team within your company? How many have shared this about this information within your organization? So they may have their own reason why they are not attending the session, but still, when forget about this training, go back to your organization, look back your training records, look back your competency skill matrix. Have you considered product safety as a separate skill? Really? Consider it. Right? This is what I would like to impart through this training. And of course, preservation, logistics, stores, operators, production, everybody is touching the product, handling the product, 854, preservation. So everywhere, this is spread across the standard. So what they wanted us to do, this is what they wanted us to do. This is the exact requirement, core requirement 8.1.3. What it says. First of all, you might have a process. What do you mean by process? Process is nothing but there are some input, you do some interaction and activity, interrelated activity, and you are giving a value-added output. So product safety is a process. When you say process, it may be determined somewhere, it may be documented somewhere, right? You may have a procedure, or you may have a SOP, or you may have a work instruction. Do we have any such process? Product safety process. Then process should have a process owner. Correct? Process must be documented. There should be a process owner. So who is owning product safety process? This is what the question we need to ask. So we should have a process for product safety. For what? Planning the product safety, implementing the product safety, control the product safety. There are three different activities. So who is going to plan product safety in your company? Who is going to implement those plans? And who is going to control this plan? If you answer these three questions, now you are able to determine and figure it out who is going to do product safety, who is responsible for product safety. Is that clear to all? I'm not going to tell who is going to do. It is your organization, it is your product, your customer, you are getting money from your customer. You have to spend, you have to have a process for this. Clear? Any questions here? What is the process for product safety? That is what the process started expecting from us. You should have a process. How to plan the product safety. How to implement, then how to control. You have to assure product safety. How you will give assurance? Unless if you have not documented the process, unless you are not assigned the process owner, unless you are not controlled, unless you are not implemented, how you will assure it? You have to assure. What you have to assure? Entire life cycle. We have already discussed this word life cycle. What is the life cycle? Concept to cash. What is that concept to cash? There is a concept. Okay, there is a RFQ. There is a business requirement in GE. There is a concept. And you are approaching them. They will get RFQ. You will get RFQ. You will review feasibility. You will give a quotation. Then they will do a supplier assessment and capability verification. And they may place some inquiry to you. FAA part inquiry may be there. FAA order may be there. You will review the order. You will develop the process for it. You produce a FAA part. You submit FAA. Your customer will approve. After that, you get the regular contract. Then you will produce. You will deliver. Then you will raise the invoice. Then you will get a bill. Then your payment will be made. Then after that, warranty, guarantee till the lifetime, the aircraft till in lifetime, you have to support the product. This is what concept to cash. This is what entire life cycle. So entire life cycle, what is your role? You have to understand. If you are outsourcing any activity here, then you have to consider that life cycle also, right? So you should have a process that assure product safety throughout the life cycle. That is a simple requirement from the standard. They made it precise requirement here. Now tell me, in your organization, go one by one. Do we have a process? Tell me now. Let's take a survey. Just respond in the chat box. Do we have a process for product safety? Understand the word process means it should be defined somewhere. There should be a process owner assigned for it. Tell me, do we have a process? So I understand. I got only limited response, so I understand. Now tell me whether your process assures product safety. Assurance. This is not quality control activity. That straight away they have ruled out, right? It is assurance activity. Whether your process assures product safety. We consider the entire life cycle. Till the product in active, till the product in life, till its product lifetime. There are two words, lifetime, life cycle. Your life cycle includes the support what you are going to give till its lifetime. Clear? Then what basis I need to have, sir? I am a simple component manufacturer. Why I should bother about all these stuff? I'm not building aircraft. I'm not building an engine. They will give you only $20 for this part. How much system I should have? You can always have this question. Standard made it very clear. Based on your role, based on the product what you produce, you need to have a process. Is that clear? What is your role? You are a system manufacturer or a subsystem manufacturer or component manufacturer. What is your role? Which tier you are? Consider that. Then what product you are dealing? Is it a COTS item, commercially off the shelf item, or raw material, or assembly, or a customized item, or build to print, or airworthiness product? Based on this product, based on your role in the company, you decide what extent you want to have a product safety process. Clear? This is what standard requirement, very simple requirement. And how to do it? That is the next question. Who is going to do that? You are going to decide, right, as part of this process. But how I am going to do it? How I am going to assure? Standard tells you two things to do. Standard only says technically what you need to do. You need to do only this. But how I am going to do? Now standard has an answer for you. Look at note in 9100 8.1.3. They have given only this. They have given 4 beautiful steps. 4 steps. The first step is you have to assess the hazard. You have to assess the hazard and manage risk associated. That is the first step. We'll go one by one. I'll explore one by one. Then second step. This is the order. Look at how beautifully they have assigned this. The first order. The very first step. If you want to assure product safety, what do you need to do? You have to assess the hazard and manage the risk related to the product safety. Then, once you assess the hazard, then you came to know whether the item is critical or non-critical. Initially, I have asked the question now, who decides critical item, non-critical item? Design authority, engineering authority. What basis they will decide? Based on the risk assessment, right? That is what it is. Outcome of this, identification of the critical item, safety critical item, and manage it. Up to this, the designer role ends. After that, the safety critical item managed by whom? Company likes you. Manufacturer will manage it. And you are delivering it to aircraft. What will happen after that? There may be some safety events at the airline end, MRO end. When the product is being used, or when the product is being assembled, when the product is being tested. After delivery, if any safety events are happened, you have to analyze, you have to report. Clear? So look at how beautifully they have covered. Then after that, you have to communicate. What? Communicate the events to the relevant interested party, to the regulators, to the customers, to the suppliers, to the operators. So these are the 4 important simple steps AS 9100 asks us to do. Your process, your product safety process should include, it's not a mandatory, should. Based on your role, based on your product, you can decide it. So this is the requirement from the standard. So how to do it? We already discussed. This is applicable irrespective of your role. Raw material provider, a small company, lower tier, whatever your role. Your product and your role have a direct connection. So you should understand where exactly the product is going to be used. Get this information within your marketing team. See, many times I will see the quality team doesn't know the intended use of the product, what they are producing. It was only restricted with the relevant level. This is not related to confidentiality part, but you should know the impact, right? What 7.3 of 9100 says, everyone in the company should aware about what is their contribution to achieve product safety. What is your contribution? Without knowing the impact, without knowing the product use, how you can contribute the product safety? Consider. Right? So you should understand. Based on the use only, you will decide what is the potential consequence. Then you will say whether critical item or not. If it is a critical item, what you are going to do? So these are the various steps you need to do. Some organization, carts item, raw material item, those are all commercial items. Those are all not specifically made for aerospace defense industry. Those are all catalog items. But still, when you handle those items, you have to consider product safety. So let's go the steps one by one. Remember, the word safety many times, even sometimes many auditors also try to wrongly interpreting this. And they try to connect this from employees' health and safety. Never, ever do that mistake. Is that clear to all? The product safety is product safety, not employees' health and safety. For that purpose, you have some other system. What is that? ISO 45001. This product safety, what we are discussing, is nothing to do with operator safety or operational health and safety. This safety is related to ASD safety, aircraft safety. Of course, safety of people on board around the aircraft, MRO industry, their safety also matters. People working in your company who is manufacturing the product, that is not the intent. That is the boundary of this particular requirement. Is that clear? Let's get the acknowledgement from the participant. Is that clear now? Don't try to get confused with this word. Product safety means employees health and safety. No, it is not. Even if you read standard very clearly in 8.1A note, if you have access to the standard, or you can make a note also later, you can go and read the standard. It tells us 8.1A note, even note bulletin 1. When you determine the requirement, they will use two words: personal safety and product safety. So personal safety is different, product safety is different. So 8.1.3 talks about only product safety. Very good. So this is what I would like to float on some of the things which is wrongly interpreted, practiced in the sector. So during your production operation, during the product is being used in the MRO sector, every stage you have to consider product safety. So that is what the correct interpretation. So 9100 understand the seriousness. Technically, this requirement is not there in the earlier version. Revision C, it is not there. Revision D, they have added a particular requirement and they have flowed to the industry. So what the first step we need to do? We need to assess the hazard, right? That's what standard expect. For that, there are some guidelines available typically. Some customers may ask you to have this International Civil Aviation Organization safety management system. Have anyone came across this particular requirement? I could see around 96 participants now. Have you came across this requirement from your customer? Your customer itself says you should have this. Very few customers are started flow down this requirement. This is optional technically, unless you are handling high critical product, mission critical, safety critical product, they will not ask. If you deal any such mission critical, safety critical product, they will flow down this requirement. Yeah, I could see some mixed responses. They do have their own safety management system. This is for airliners, MRO industry, even sometimes designer, manufacturer, aircraft manufacturer also it is applicable. It depends on the customer requirement, you can follow. This is the best practice I could say, but it is not mandatory. I have standard itself now based on your role, based on your product, you can have your own product safety system. If your product calls for it, if your customer asks for it, you can go. 9100 is not mandating it. I'm repeatedly saying it is not a requirement of 9100. Clear? So this is typically talks about safety risk management process, safety assurance process, safety promotion process. So this is what 9100 also asks us now. Safety risk management, assess the hazard. Safety assurance, have a process for assurance, monitor, reporting, then train. The same only they have given a standard. That's it. So let's look at how to assess the hazard as per 9100. You can do FMEA, you can do BFMEA, you can do PFMEA. That is one way. But typically you are all doing. What's new here? What's new here is context. You go back, relook your DFMEA, PFMEA. Have you considered product safety? Product safety. Product safety means the intended use. Considering that context, understand the context, then you have to apply product safety. Most of the DFMEA, PFMEA, we are focusing on product quality, right? Product quality. But what standard expecting from us? Hazards, hazard analysis. Hazard to the product, not hazard to the person or operator. Clear? So you perform safety analysis. This is another way. Identify, mitigate what are the risks related to product safety. Consider those factors. Right? Outcome of this assessment, maybe you can come up with a critical item. Okay, this is what critical item. There are multiple ways to do this. Multiple technologies are there. You can use your own standard. You can use this ICAO SMS. No, there is recommended one for critical products, high critical products. And you can use simple ISO standards, brainstorming. You can use your own way. FMEA, FTA, bow tie analysis, Monte Carlo simulation. A lot of techniques are used by aircraft industry. Again, depends on your role. You can do that. Product specific. You can make a note down of the standard SAE AARP 4761 aerospace recommended practice. Product specific. Again, this is also optional. Only a best practice I am saying. Based on your role, you can take a call for this. If you want to really have a system. Is it clear? There are multiple options you have. Functional hazard assessment. Someone have mentioned who is responsible, functional safety engineer. So they can consider this. These are the industry best practices followed. So try to capture this. There are two ways you have to do. You have to consider backward as well as consider forward. Both the phases. What could be the hazard for your product? You have to consider this. Now look at this picture. Do you think any product safety hazard in this diagram? Look at the picture. Tell me what comes to your mind when you see this picture. What is the first hazard related to product safety comes to your mind? Come on, tell me. Look at the picture. What product safety hazard comes to your mind when you see this picture? Again, don't repeat product quality related hazard, products quality related risk, product quality related potential failure. We talk about product safety. Human factor. Very good. Manual error. Very good. FOD. Beautiful. That is what you have to apply. Now go back, relook your FMEA. How many of your FMEA have FOD as a potential failure mode? So this is what you need to do. Clear? So based on these type of hazard assessment and risk analysis, you come up with the controls. The controls may call for a critical item. Sometimes critical item is further classified into safety critical item. So you said, nah, I'm going to take care, special care of critical item. What is that care? Ask for this. Ask for this. Clear? There are plenty of component goes into aircraft, which is critical here. Entire engine is critical, perfect. But within engine, which is critical? If you are an engineering authority, you will be in a position to dictate it based on your risk assessment. Plenty of component goes into an aircraft. Plenty. Maybe the small few distribution line may be critical. Safety critical, few parts are safety critical, mission critical. So this is what basis this will be decided based on that assessment. The next step. Okay, designer have made this or your engineering team have made this. Now product has released for shop floor for production, regular production, continuous production. After that, any event happens. Any event that affects safety, what it could be safety event? It may be accident, it may be a failure, landing gear is not opening, there is a crack in the shield. Any report you are getting it from your customer. Customer complaints. Even your customer complaint can be classified it as any product safety event. This is what your process should have. So collect those type of even potential occurred both events. What do you mean potential events? You look at your other players, your competitors, similar product line industries, whoever come up with this occurrence, consider everything, collect everything, analyze it. Now tell me who is going to do this in your company? Tell me, who will do this? Which process do you think going to do this? Tell me, come on. Who is going to do this? Occurred event. How engineering will know occurred event? How they will collect, where they get the input, where they get the feedback. Various questions, not only within the company. You have to think out of the box here. Talk to customer. Customer is the only contact point for you, na? Events. This event may be happened within your company. The primary focus should be end product. End product. MRO level, customer assembly stage, at customer end, after delivery. Customer care, OEM, very good. That is what the thought process you should have. Internally, you are dealing as part of non-conformity, right? You have 8.7 class in every management system standard. Internal NC, you will deal with that. I'm not talking that here. You should have a process, collection of potential occurred events. Remember 737 MAX? Do you think that is a event occurred safety? Tell me. Yes, right. That is another classic example. There is an event occurred. They analyzed it. And what they do? First of all, once this has happened, internally you will escalate, report to the regulatory bodies. What Boeing did, informed all, right? They have downed the entire 737 MAX across the globe. Analyze the trend. Based on that, take action. So this is very big process. If you are responsible for airworthy, if you are responsible engineering authority, this has very crucial role to play. So strengthen this type of thing in your organization. Clear? So there are multiple input you have where to collect this data. Talk to operator, talk to MRO industry, talk to customers, suppliers, talk to regulators. Every country regulators keep on listing the occurred events because it's a regulatory requirement. They will publish this report, safety events, adverse event. There are a lot of channels to collect this information. So try to get this, either qualitative data or quantitative data. Then after this, what you need to do? Communicate these events and train the relevant person. Promote a safety culture. Have a process for this. In induction training, you can include this. To prevent the occurrence of this. Relook your safety assessment and update. So these are the multiple ways to do this. So IAQG gives you, there are 6 M, which may affect the product safety within your organization. So far what we discussed, a big process, right? So in hazard assessment, what are the hazard I have to consider? I do FMEA, product safety point of view, what I need to add in FMEA. I think this will help you to understand. These are the 6 M. Now tell me whether all the 6 M's are part of your FMEA in your organization, FMEA, DFMEA, or PFMEA. Are you considering this? So you can use a cost-effect fishbone diagram to analyze the 6 M's. Even in training, you can consider this 6 M. So you can ask all these questions, whether personnel having technology proficiency and experience, because whatever you are getting from this training, whether do you think this training is required for people who are handling product safety, people who are involved in product safety? Consider that. This much depth knowledge they should have or not? Ask the question. You train them. Slow down the requirements. Whether employee is motivated, that is very important. Training and all, you will sit and listen and get a certificate. You can add that in your resume. But that is not the intention of this training. I'm repeating, saying it. Getting a certificate is not an issue. Try to practice this. That is what the justice you can do to us. Can you assure me you are going to do that in your company? Motivation, that's what I'm trying to bring here. And whether staff has the quality consciousness, sense of responsibility and discipline. This is very important in aircraft industry. Ethical behavior, right? Do you remember one word in 9100? 7.3, again, I'll go back. Everyone should know the importance of ethical behavior. Quality consciousness should come. Sense of responsibility is needed. Even though if you are not in the aerospace business, doesn't matter. It's always good to have this. These are man-related things. And what are the contribution here? Now tell me human factor, right? What is the impact? Attitude, distraction, psychological aspect. Now, because of COVID, most of the every operator are wearing some PPE. In addition to the organizational routine PPE, COVID PPE now I am wearing. Now tell me, because of this COVID PPE, is there any chances of human factors that may affect product safety? Tell me. How many of you have assessed that? How many of you consider this as a risk in your company? COVID PPE, not COVID as a risk. Wearing COVID PPE, is that a risk for my operation? Yeah, have you considered? That is what important thing you have to relook. So this is not a one-time activity. This is a every guy you have to consider. So consider employee motivation. So a lot of things are men are impacting it. Then when it's come to machine maintenance, a very good thing. How many people are from maintenance attending this training? Maintenance, anyone from plant maintenance machinery? Very good. If you can tell your name, I just see GB 4146. At least we should appreciate Gopal. So maintenance plays a key role in product safety. What is the connection between product safety and maintenance? See, typically, what is the cooling oil I need to use when I am doing the machining operation? What is the lubrication oil I have to use? What is the cooling oil I have to use? Who will decide it in your company? Tell me. Who decides it? Whether that may affect product quality safety. If machinery is eroding, rusting, right? You have to consider this factors. Machine calibration, periodic maintenance, CNC program control, software, SCADA. Now every company moving towards industry 4.0, right? Now the role of maintenance plays a vital thing here. Automation. Okay. These are the impacts of the machine. Then consider material. That's what I repeatedly asking purchase. Where you are getting the material, counterfeit part, there is the biggest risk in product safety, right? Prevention of counterfeit part. That's what the separate class 814. Whether supplier has any certification, NATCAP or 9120 for dealer distributor. Verify this. Shelf life of the materials. How to handle the material, preservation the material. If you are using electronic components, ESD control, moisture control, everything you have to consider. These are the factors you have to consider. Obsolescence, again, that is a big risk you have to consider. Then method. You could see plenty of risk in here. What is the method, technique I have to use for the manufacturing process? Process sequence, operation sequence. Selecting the process parameter, right? Drawing interpretation, slow down the drawing requirement. Sample size, that is one critical thing you have to consider here. Who will decide the sample size in your company? Sample size. Tell me, in your organization, who decides the inspection sample size? In your organization, do you practice sampling inspection? Yes, it should come from engineering authority. Engineering authority, very good. Because standard doesn't allow you to choose your own sampling plan. If you look at AS 91 or 8.5.1 C, clearly says if you're using sampling plan, that needs to be statistically validated. That can be a factor which affects product safety. Consider this. Then measurement, calibration, MSA, SPC, you can consider here. Operator fatigue, again. Many organizations simply choose 100% inspection to avoid all the confusion. And look at the operator fatigue here. Readability of the instrument. What is the size, display size? I have given some temperature indicator, which is not at all visible to me. What operator will do? Okay, same temperature will be there. Let's write it in the logbook. So these are the aspects we have to consider in when you do assessment. So don't simply say we have a FMEA, so that is what the assessment we do for a product safety. Never ever bring that old FMEA. That is not going to add any value. You have to think this way and consider. So try to do a cost effect diagram like this and explore. So everywhere you can consider it. So IAQG, International Aerospace Quality Group, gives some case studies. For each factor, there is a case study. For men related, machine related, material related, method related, measurement related, mother nature related, 6 product safety case studies they have given. I will run through this. This is the first case study related to men. What is the issue here? First, let's start with the problem. A cockpit windscreen blew out during flight. Look at the risk. The screen was blew during flight. Look at the risk. What is the risk? Can you imagine yourself there? During flight, if the windscreen is blew out, it's a fatal, right? Can you imagine the situation? What is the risk here? Now, how it is connected with the product safety? How it is connected with men? Look at this. During investigation, it was revealed that an operator installed, instead of referring a document, is followed his experience and installed a wrong fastener. Wrong fastener has been installed. Document clearly says configuration management is here. Document, there may be a revised fastener size. There may be change in specification. But what operator does based on, okay, every time the same, this model means this. So he assumed that and installed it. And what is the impact? Almost it's going to harm, right? This is the definition of product safety. So incorrect type fasteners were installed. So you can ask a lot of questions. Why the other fastener is issued to the shop floor? Right? Relevant fastener only should be available for the fastening. Why inspector is not detected? You can ask all other, these are all control. What we are asking here, prevent. Assurance. This is one case study. And this is related to machine. Again, on pad fire, in command module during plug out test, this was happened. There is a fatal again. So unsafe conditions are unrecognized here. Unfueled module were considered. They have assumed it's a low risk, non-hazardous test. And later they have modified all their programs. Material, this is one classic example. Engine gear failed due to raw material contamination, FOD, straight away. Raw material level FOD, forget about machining level FOD. Raw material, there is an impurity, 0.8 mm length of impurity material in the metal part. Raw material inspection only says material property, chemical property, physical property, dimensional requirement. How about blowholes? Micro, macro. It may be a counterfeit item, maybe. This is another example. Then method. Again, here also the fuel was ignited. There is a fire incident. Fuel tank leak was there. The reason is, again, design itself they have not considered. It's a design related flaw. You could see many news. If you go to LinkedIn or some other Facebook or some other, you are using for some other purpose, but search product safety, you get a lot of articles. Myself wrote multiple articles on product safety, which is available in our social media pages. You can explore them. Then measurement related. Engine separated actually from the aircraft. Look at the fatal, all including ground staff gone. Improper methodology, improper measurement, checkpoints. Now after that, this is what the occurred events. Do you remember the word what we are seeing in 9100? Occurred events. These are the events. Then Mother Nature, we all know. Have you watched this Hollywood movie Sully? I think this is available in Amazon Prime. You can, if you have time, just watch. Sully, that tells us Mother Nature. The bird, both the engine failed, and the flight was safely landed in the river. So like this, we keep on add multiple examples. These are some of the contributions. Even you can have some safety related objective. I said that there is one standard, International Civil Aviation Organization, SMS. You can consider this type of objective. These are some of the advanced system of safety management system. It depends on your role, depends on what product you do, you can consider this. Okay, so now this is the time for question and answers. Any questions, please, you can chat. You can chat it, or you can raise your hand. I will try to unmute your device. We'll discuss. Both the way, whatever you are comfortable. Any questions, please? You can use chat box, or you can raise your hand. I'll unmute you.